If you told me that 4 or so years ago, I would be running a clothing brand that sells globally around the world and working for myself throughout this entire time, I would say, okay, pop off, queen, but like, how the heck are you doing that? I have zero experience in fashion, e-commerce, and business. I was a personal trainer for over 6 years. I studied psychology in university, and that's about all I got. But here I am, learning as I go, shipping out orders, and building something from scratch. So today I'm going to share my tips and my journey with you on how I started a clothing brand with absolutely zero experience. Hello guys, what's up? My name is Tova. If you're new to this channel, I run an online clothing brand business called Reborn Club, where I sell positive and uplifting messages on hoodies, journals, accessories, hats, and so much more. So if you're interested in following along this small business journey, then don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. It has definitely been a while since I've come on here and kind of explained my story and my journey. So I thought today I could break this up into different chapters on how I got this brand going and running and everything like that, because it has been over 4 years now. There's been ups and downs, but I am so amazed sometimes of like how I got here. And I think this like was recently sparked because I had a conversation, like meeting, where I was explaining to a company my story, and I just thought for a second, like, damn, she did that. Today I'm going to share all the steps and everything that got me here. So I guess without further ado, let's get into chapter 1, which is the idea phase. So I had the idea to start my clothing brand Reborn Club after I got temporarily laid off from my corporate job. I was a gym manager. It was the first full-time job I ever got. I worked as a personal trainer for 6+ years. I was in the fitness and wellness scene, but then when COVID hit, all the gyms closed down and naturally I lost my job. I like to keep busy to do things. So when I was collecting government money called CERB, I was collecting paychecks from there. I think it was like $1,000 a month or something like that. And I had nothing to do. I was starting to feel really trapped, and it wasn't just me. Like, so many people were in the same position where a lot of workplaces closed down and we were all just kind of scrambled. So I decided to take this time and this unique opportunity to start up a side hustle. At the time I was running my Instagram page called Tove Fitness, and I shared a bunch of fitness tips on there. Now I've changed it to Life with Tove. I thought to myself, like, what if I made merch for this Instagram account? What if I saw one of my friends, her name is Danielle, and she runs a coffee page, and she started making merch for her Instagram account. So I was like, why don't I start to make it? Instead of just like shipping something from randomly from online and making merch, like, what if I actually make everything? Like, buy all the tools, all the machinery, and make it, because I'm so bored that I want something to do. When I had that idea, it sticked. Like, I have a bunch of ideas. I have ideas running through my brain every single day. They normally get funneled out, but that idea was like, oh yeah, that's the one. I started to think about different names of what to call the brand, and I started to talk to my friends and family about it, and everybody was just on board. So when it came to thinking about a name, I knew I wanted the brand to be a community and club, because Tove Fitness at the time was such a community. I would always interact and engage with everybody on there. Like, there were so many strangers that I never met, but I felt so close to and I talked to daily. So I knew I wanted it to be a community, and that's why I needed the word club to be in it. And then when I was thinking about what to name it in general, I knew I wanted it to be revolved around self-growth and like overall wellness and mental health, considering I went to school for psychology, the whole fitness and physical mental wellness field I was in. And then it kind of clicked because I have this tattoo on my hand that says Reborn, which means a lot to me, and this is based on the idea that like you can reinvent yourself and you can make a 180 at any point in your life. So then I was like, what if we name it Reborn Club? And that is how Reborn Club blossomed. So now let's get into chapter 2, which is the first steps of building the business. I'm going to lay out everything for you of like where my mind was at and like the steps I took. So first and foremost, I made an Instagram page and a TikTok account because I was already gifted per se in like the social media realm. I mean, I was still learning so much. I still am learning so much, but because I had already started a platform, I felt like I was able to get a couple hundred followers easier than the average person because I already had a following on Tove Fitness. So when I started up my Reborn Club Instagram page, it just felt like easier. So I am very privileged and grateful for that. I started an Instagram page before I started my TikTok account, and on Instagram I didn't really post much, just like flat lays of products and whatnot. So once I did that, I also designed my first hero products, and by that I mean like I had to decide what the first things I wanted to sell was, in which I settled on long sleeves. So I had like a white long sleeve, a black long sleeve, and a cream long sleeve, and then I also had to figure out where to get those long sleeves from. I knew I didn't want to start sourcing sourcing anywhere in China or anything like that because it just seemed so ambiguous and like such a big task, and I barely knew anything. So I just started to search up wholesale long sleeves or wholesale t-shirts near me, and that's where I came across some platforms like Jiffy Shirts Canada, Warden's Canada, SNS Activewear Canada, Alpha Broder Canada. I'm saying that because most of these websites also have like a United States account. So they have United States, they have Canada too. And some of these websites you need a business number for, some of these websites you don't. But I did do my research and I noticed that the prices were cheaper for these bulk items when I had a business number. So then I got a business number. I registered my business for Ontario, which was like, I think $60. It gets you a really long number, and that is your business number. And once you have your business number and you're registered business as like a sole proprietor, then you can get access to some cheaper prices. Like for instance, from SNS Activewear, you need a business number. And so once I got that, I was able to get some cheaper prices and have access to even more products. So I started sampling out products. I've sampled from Gildan, I sampled from Bella and Canvas, I think I sampled from like American Apparel before. There was a couple other brands that I sampled from. So I did start with Gildan, honestly. Once I got that down pat, then I started to think about my designs. I wanted it to be like common phrases. And once again, this was not intended to be like a business per se. It was just intended to be a side hustle until the world went back to normal. I had no clue how long this was going to last for. So I started with 2 designs. One said manifest that The second one said I love your energy. They both look the exact same. Like it was just like text like this over the chest. Then I was like, okay, how are we gonna put this on? So I did my research and I found out that I wanted to do either screen printing or heat transfer vinyl, also known as HTV, which I'll probably refer to because it's shorter. In order to do HTV, I needed a Cricut machine and I needed a heat press. And in order to do screen printing, I needed screen and a frame. I needed like a squeegee and ink. And I bought all of it. I didn't know which one I wanted, so I bought it all. I even bought a printer because I knew I wanted to make like stickers and I needed to print out the shipping labels and invoices and stuff, and I didn't want to use my parents' printers. Those were like all the first things I bought, and then it was time to start sampling and time to start actually making the products. That brings me into chapter 3, which is my first drop and my learning lessons. I think my first drop, I started once again with 2 long sleeves and I priced them either, I think it was like $25 or $30 Canadian. I had no clue about shipping. I don't even think I charged shipping. I drove around the Greater Toronto area, like further than the Greater Toronto area, to drop off packages because I just told everybody that like if you lived in this area, like the radius, that I would not charge shipping and I would just drop it off. So I would drive upwards of like an hour and a half to 2 hours just to drop off a package, like literally knock on the person's door and drop off the package. I don't know what I was thinking. But I did all these orders, so before I like skip forward, I held a pre-order. So I basically have the original announcement, but I announced this business on my Instagram stories and I opened up like a question box where I allowed people to say if they were interested and what size they wanted. And from there I DM'd them, got their shipping information and like further information from them, and then I made them e-transfer me. Once I got all the orders, I ordered all those items from one of those websites that I told you about. They came in and then I started making them. I decided to do HTV. However, I quickly realized I just wasn't that talented in that realm because my perception of like putting something on, it was all messed up. I would like make it crooked, this, that. I wasn't the most efficient at the job, and I knew that this wasn't going to be sustainable. Like I wouldn't be able to be making all these items because to me it felt like an arts and crafts project and it felt unprofessional, but obviously I had to do what I had to do. That's when I decided, I was like, okay, maybe I'll try screen printing. I'll try and take screen printing seriously because I saw so many people doing screen printing when I did all my research and like followed a bunch of other small business owners on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram and such. But I tried screen printing and I failed so many times. I could never get it right. However, before I skip ahead, again, I'm very bad at skipping ahead a couple chapters. When I did the pre-orders and I ended up making back everything that I spent on the machinery, like I'm talking like the Cricut and the heat press and screen printing stuff, then I was like, okay, should I do it again? Like, should I make another design or should I like release more products or do a second pre-order? And at the same time, I started getting some messages in where it was like, hey, are you gonna restock this? Can I still order this? And I was like, what if I make a website? Because I can't keep doing this through DMs. Like that seems like a lot for me because I was also running my social media account too, like Toe Fitness. So So it was, how do you filter out through the messages? Not a lot of people still followed me on Reborn Club, so the messages were coming through on my personal account and stuff. So I decided to make a website, and this was in February 2021. I was researching what website to use: Shopify, Squarespace, Wix. I ended up settling on Shopify, which was the best idea because it is the best platform to use for e-commerce. I'm telling you that right now. And if you want to start up a Shopify account, I actually have a link in the description box down below where you can start for free today. I started to teach myself softwares, like even in terms of like shipping out orders. I started to do research on what the cheapest way to ship orders are. I made like a Canada Post account and a UPS account and a FedEx account and a DHL account and all of these things, but I was like, the prices are still so high. So then I kept digging and I found Chit Chats and Stallion Express, which are third-party couriers, and the prices were so much less. That's who I decided to start shipping with. And then I started to learn platforms like Canva and Photoshop, and I tried to learn InDesign, but I'm still working with InDesign. It's not easy. But yeah, and I taught myself obviously how to use Shopify and everything on there and customize my website to my liking. I guess from there we get into chapter 4, which is taking what I learned from that first drop into account. Like I said, I had like 20-ish orders. I had other people asking me, and I was like, okay, maybe I do this again. Maybe I make some more products or whatever. Then I decided to make better designs. I had the idea one evening to put "I'm so grateful for you" on the back of a hoodie. I started sampling hoodies at this point, more than just long sleeves now. I sampled the Gildan hoodies, like it's like the standard weight Gildan hoodies. And I have a photo. One night I was just like, I just took paper and I put on the paper, I wrote "I'm so grateful for you." I put it on the back of the hoodie, and I was like, this would be so fun and so cool and like a way to spread positivity during this weird time in everybody's lives. And so I tried so hard to screen print that myself, like so hard. I failed so many times. I wasted so many hoodies. And that's when I was like, I can't do this on my own anymore. So I decided to call up a screen printer. I just Googled screen printers near me. So many people don't know how to find one. Just literally just Google it and call. I called a few. There was one that I called, and the person just had such good energy. We were bouncing back and forth. He made it sound like anything I wanted was possible, and he didn't have really high numbers. Like I would always ask, like, what are your minimum order requirements? Also known as MOQ, by the way. If you ever see MOQ, that's minimum order requirement. And so his was like really low. And he also understood that I knew nothing and I was bare basic small business, and he was willing to help. And he was laughing when I told him about all my mistakes with screen printing and such. So I did my first batch with him, and it was a new design. It was "This Moment Will Never Come Again," but it wasn't like how it looks now. It was way different. I did that batch with him, and I really liked it. And then when I had that idea to do the "I'm so grateful for you," I went to him for that. That hoodie like changed the trajectory of my business, because that hoodie led to one of my TikToks going viral. It hit almost 2 million. I think it's at 1.9 million views, and it picked up speed really quickly. It was in June of 2021. This video went viral. I had so many people on my website. My email list was growing. My following list was growing. Everything was growing, and I sold out of everything I had on my website. And that's when I was like, okay, we got to restock. And so then came the concept of restocking like twice a month, right? I wouldn't have much inventory. It would sell out, and then I would just restock it. This would allow me to make sure I get enough sizes for everybody. I would notice which sizes would sell out fast, and then I couldn't afford at the time to spend like a couple $1,000s on inventory. I literally would spend like less than $1,000 on inventory, have that sell out, take that $1,000 that I made back or whatever, and then put it right back into the next drop. And that was the cycle for like 3 years. I started posting more on social media, and I started to buy new machinery like a thermal label printer, because before that I was just printing out shipping labels from my printer. And Canada Post had these like adhesive clear label pouches, and I would be putting it in there so it would get protected in like the case of rain or whatever, and I'd stick it on the package, and that was just so time consuming. So I bought a thermal label printer. I started to figure out like what freebies I wanted to start giving. I started making hang tags and thank you cards. I started to make stickers to put into packaging, and that's when I started to like learn more about where I want to take the business. That was when it was like, okay, I think this is going to be a business. I don't think this is going to be a side hustle anymore. Which leads you into chapter 5, which is taking the business more seriously. So now we have this product, the "I'm so grateful for you" product, that did really well, and I started to expand to more products. Like some of my other hero products were the "I Love Your Energy" crew neck. I had a "This Moment Will Never Come Again" sweatshirt. I came out with Now is a good time on a sweatshirt, and just like a bunch of really random other collections. Like I had one that says like, today's a lovely day because you are alive. There are some really questionable ones that I came up with at the beginning. But like my most popular ones was I'm so grateful for you, I love your energy, and this moment will never come again. Those were like my top 3. Because I had that video go viral on TikTok, I gained 10,000 followers, and so this is when I had the momentum to keep posting and posting. There were, I wouldn't say like a lot of other videos went viral per se, but like I was getting pretty good views, and I feel like I was doing really well on social media. So I started to do more photo shoots and put more effort into content creating, and just took so many photos with my friends, by myself, with my brother. I was constantly taking photos for the brand, and that really helped. I was also constantly asking friends and people to post on their stories so they could like post the unboxing of Reborn Club products on their stories, and that way I could get more credibility, and I started to gain reviews and such. I also started to get orders from all around the world. Like because that video went viral on TikTok, I got orders from Australia. That was like my first international order, and then it turned into Europe, and then I even got some from Southeast Asia, and I started to get more from all around Canada. Like I've now hit every single province and territory in Canada, but it was just like I started to really expand, like even hit like Hawaii and Alaska, and this was all in my first year of business. I also started to reach out to influencers within like my first and second year of business, and that also changed a lot for me. There were a few influencers where I sent items to, and I got over 100 people on my website from these influencers, and I got so many sales. It's hit or miss. Like some people I sent stuff to, I got nothing. Some people I sent stuff to, I got so much, but I just kept like trying to grow the PR list, and that really helped. I also took email marketing and SMS marketing more seriously. I always prioritized email campaigns and building an email list. Like I always had a pop-up on my website which was like sign up to get 10% off your first order, but then I started to incorporate SMS marketing into like my website as well, and that changed a lot for me. SMS marketing happened to do really well for me, and I was able to get more customers on SMS, and like I was able to incentivize more people, and through that I started to build my email and SMS list, and I tried to put more effort into it. And on top of that, I started to just gather more feedback and more like research from my customers and see what colors, what sizes. I was able to expand my size from small to extra large to small to 2XL and then small to 3XL. And I was able to add more colors, like the I'm So Grateful For You hoodie now. I think it has over 10 colors. As the years went on, I continued to grow and I continued to play around with different clothing, and I came up with journals, and that's when I started to manufacture items from Alibaba.com. Up until this point, a lot of the stuff I was doing was just bulk. I would be taking like a wholesale brand, and then I would just like slap my design on it and then resell it basically, which is what a lot of people do. But I was like, I want to start making things that are like custom, like Reborn Club custom. So I started to do cut and sew manufacturing, and this was a really big project because until I found the right supplier, it costed me so many hundreds of dollars on sampling and just headaches and headaches. And I finally found such a good supplier that I trust, and I'm really happy about that, but it took me years and over $1,000, absolutely, if like more. With that, I came out with new products, you know, like sweat sets, the guided evening journals. It changed a lot for me because I feel like that's when my quality really started to get better. I also started to make like custom neck tags to put on the hoodies. Everything is now custom Reborn Club, and I feel like it just elevates the customer experience. It makes the brand more professional, and I receive a lot of great feedback on that. I also nailed down my packaging in terms of like the freebies that I give, the thank you cards, the hang tags. Everything is just such a level up from where it used to be, but that took me years and so much trial and error to just go back and forth between what I wanted to do. I upgraded my website by adding in so many like third-party apps and things just to like make it better. I also started experimenting with paid ad campaigns. I don't do it that often, but I kind of do it like when I have a new collection or when I'm doing a sale and I want to improve. I hope like within this year I can improve and actually have ad campaigns running all the time, because I really do think it would help my business, but the budget is just not. I started to do pop-ups. I did my first few pop-ups this year, and I really feel like I'm engaging the community and getting closer and closer to where I want things to go in terms of community for Reborn Club. I mean, you'd think within 4 years I'd start to take it seriously, but like so much changes, and every single year of running this business has brought me more and more knowledge on the business. It's brought me more confidence in running the business, and it's all been essential to the journey. You can't just jump 7 different steps into running a business. You have to start somewhere, and the best way for you to learn is to just start, because you will learn so much from your mistakes and so much from the outside perspective of what your friends and family and like random customers might tell you. And if I could tell you to do anything, it would just be like to be open to it. You have to be open to constructive criticism from yourself and from other people, and you have to be adaptable and flexible. It is so fun running a business and being able to be creative and whatnot, but it is also so like mentally and physically taxing, and it's all dependent on you. Now, this seems so natural. This seems so me, that this is my business and this is my life, like getting to run this business full time and also getting to be on YouTube and doing content creation full time. Like that is an absolute dream, and I'm so grateful for where I am. But I learned a lot. Favorite quote at the moment is, "You cannot find yourself using someone else's map." So I hope that you can take this story as inspiration, a way for you to get the ball moving and as a point of reference. But this won't be your story. You will have your own story and you will make your own mistakes. You will figure it out and it will be so beautiful. Hopefully I can like provide some inspiration, and if you haven't subscribed to me for a while and you didn't know about this, welcome. I'm glad that you heard the backstory. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any videos of mine and so we can become friends. Definitely pre-filmed this video, but like right now I am probably in Portugal. So if you aren't following along my personal Instagram, I will also leave it in the description box down below. It's called Life with Tove, formerly known as Tove Fitness. I will be sharing like all my travel content on there, so you can follow me along for that journey. It seems so crazy to even say that right now. I feel like I'm talking to myself in the future, which is a wild. I haven't even started packing yet and I leave in 4 days. But yeah, I will talk to you again sometime soon. Don't forget to stay cool. Peace.